A young woman, newly married, is holding a funeral for her husband. Suddenly, a strange man appears behind her.
Excuse me, ma'am?
At such a sensitive moment, she doesn't understand what his intentions are, but the man's next words leave her utterly perplexed.
I have a proposition for you.
Faced with this outrageous and unreasonable request, the woman instinctively chooses to ignore it.
I know it's not the right place or the right time, but I figure if we marry, it'll help solve both our problems.
The woman is stunned for a moment, a flash of astonishment in her eyes. Perhaps fate did not give her the right to choose, so the next day, she still stands at her wedding with the man.
Just answer, I will.
I will.
Then I pronounce you man and wife.
Although she understands this marriage is merely a transaction, her heart can't help but feel an indescribable sense of absurdity. Marty, originally a cultured young woman, unable to endure the daily grind of a 9-to-5 job, traveled with her husband Aaron far from the city's noise to a western town, pursuing their dreamt of pastoral life, hoping to find a new world of freedom there. However, the harsh natural conditions nearly shattered their confidence, until they accidentally discovered a picturesque river valley and vast grasslands. The beautiful environment made them decide to settle down and build their new home. But just as they began to envision their beautiful new life, fate dealt them a heavy blow. While chasing an escaped horse, Aaron tragically fell from its back and died instantly. Alone, helpless, and pregnant, Marty, in order to survive the coming winter, reluctantly agreed to Clark's marriage proposal. Clark is a widower whose wife passed away many years ago, leaving him with a daughter, Missy. Wanting his daughter to have more maternal love while growing up and to learn things only a mother can teach, Clark felt compelled to propose to Marty, promising her enough money to return home when spring arrived. Although her immediate survival problem was solved, the sudden death of her husband was like an unhealable scar, deeply etched in Marty's heart, making her world seem plunged into darkness. She was immersed in grief and despair all day long, unable to extricate herself. But no matter how unbearable yesterday was, today's sun remains as warm as ever. Life never stops because of the past. We must always carry hope and move forward courageously. To alleviate her inner sorrow, Marty tried to find a moment of peace and happiness in the sway of a swing. But the swing's sway could not soothe the wounds in her heart. Every high arc seemed to intensify her inner pain, as if the whole world was at odds with her. However, only Clark, who had also lost a beloved, understood that time is the only remedy for healing such pain.
Is she all right?
No. But she will be.
As time slowly passed, Marty's heart went through a long struggle and internal dialogue until finally, at a certain moment, she began to gradually let go. As for this strange husband, she still held an inexplicable wariness and aversion in her heart. Fortunately, Clark was not the rough man he appeared to be. On the contrary, he was actually a gentleman with a gentle and sensitive heart. On Marty's very first day, he voluntarily gave up the only bedroom in the house, willingly moving into the small, humble shed. During this time, he not only gave Marty enough space and time to heal her pain, but also silently supported her behind the scenes. No matter what time Marty got up, Clark always patiently offered warm greetings and thoughtfully kept breakfast ready for her.
Saved you some ham. I'm not much of a cook, but it's usually pretty filling.
Clark's gentleness and consideration were like a warm ray of sunlight slowly shining into Marty's heart, helping her gradually find a semblance of balance in her new life. She realized that although loved ones were gone, life was long, and moving forward with a smile, living life to the fullest, was the most beautiful way to honor the deceased. She started getting up on time for breakfast. This simple change in daily habits subtly reflected the subtle shifts in her inner world. At the same time, she also prepared to pick up her love of reading again. Clark keenly noticed Marty's changes. He understood that these small actions meant Marty was beginning to accept and integrate into this new home. Clark took Marty outside the barn, looking at Missy, who was working hard. Missy, though already a 9-year-old girl, lacked a mother's guidance while growing up. Coupled with the heavy farm work, she had developed a tomboy personality. She often fought with the neighbor boy over small things, and because of this, it seemed no one ever treated her like a girl. Clark lamented that he owed his daughter too much. He hoped that during Marty's time living there, she could teach his daughter how to be a proper young lady, and also give her some motherly care. And so, carrying this transaction and expectation, Marty began slowly stepping into a brand new life. But what she didn't expect was Missy's extreme resistance to this sudden stepmother.
You may need a place to stay, but I don't need a mother. Paul and me been doing just fine.
Marty didn't respond much to Missy's cold words because she knew everything she did was just a transaction. She wanted to use practical actions to make this transaction as fair as possible. However, the pastoral life in books was far from reality. She couldn't collect eggs from the chicken coop, nor milk cows in the barn, and even basic life skills like cooking could overwhelm her. Fortunately, Clark always offered meticulous care and comfort at just the right moments.
You get the hang of that stove. It just takes a little practice, that's all.
Although after a period of adjustment, Marty became familiar with these chaotic household chores, in Missy's eyes, her slightly clumsy movements were utterly ridiculous. So, a mischievous idea quietly formed in her mind, and she scooped a shovel of cow dung and threw it at Marty. Although Missy's rejection made Marty furious and humiliated, in her constant clashes with Missy, she seemed to gradually find a way to release the pain of losing her husband. Meanwhile, the responsibility of becoming the mistress of the farm shone like a light, illuminating her path forward, giving her the courage and hope to continue living. The next morning, sunlight bathed the earth, and when Marty woke up, she was shocked to discover Missy was nowhere to be found. A wave of unease washed over her, and she quickly dressed and rushed out of the house, anxiously searching the farm for Missy. Fortunately, it was just a false alarm, and she soon found Missy in the shed. It turned out a skunk searching for food had stubbornly refused to leave, so Missy had hidden in the shed's loft, too scared to come down. Seeing this, Marty immediately positioned herself in front of Missy and cautiously reached out, trying to shield her as they left. However, right at that moment, the farm dog suddenly burst in. Its appearance startled the skunk, and the frightened creature, in its panic, sprayed urine right into Marty's face. Although Missy didn't immediately accept this stepmother because of it, her kind nature meant she patiently used tomatoes to help Marty remove the awful smell. Their relationship seemed to gradually grow closer amidst these everyday dramas. But food is fundamental to life, and to truly have a place in this home, solid cooking skills were essential. This, however, was one of Marty's fatal weaknesses, and she often faced Missy's mockery and teasing because of it.
Pancakes are all burnt.
One day, Clark prepared to take Missy to the market to buy supplies needed for winter, which also gave Missy a chance to wait and see Marty embarrass herself.
Hope you can make something better than burnt pancakes. Too bad I'll be gone, because I can make some real good fried chicken.
And this opportunity successfully ignited Marty's fighting spirit. She refused to be bested by a child at frying chicken, and was determined to prove herself through action. After Clark and his daughter left in the wagon, she confidently marched towards the chicken coop. But her start was unlucky, as just catching the first chicken took immense effort. Thankfully, through persistent effort, she successfully captured one chicken. However, the inside and outside of the house were left in complete disarray. When Clark and his daughter pushed open the door to investigate, Marty proudly presented them with the fried chicken she had made. This fried chicken might not have been as delicious as imagined, but it gave her the confidence to stand up to Missy in the future. Late at night, Marty lay completely undressed in the bathtub, enjoying this hard-won victory, when Clark, coming in from outside to warm up, walked right in on her.
I'm sorry.
Although the woman before him had an enchanting and pleasing figure, Clark not only had no inappropriate thoughts, but instead lay down on the floor pretending to faint, giving Marty ample space and privacy. This kind gesture sparked an indescribable fondness and warmth in Marty for this outwardly rugged but inwardly sensitive gentleman. Marty learned from Missy that Clark took solitary walks every Sunday. This secret, unknown to others, acted like a magnet, deeply attracting Marty's curiosity. An inexplicable impulse stirred within her, a desire to follow his footsteps and uncover the secret. But a sudden autumn breeze carrying a distinct chill made Marty realize her clothes were too thin. Helplessly, she had to temporarily set aside her curiosity and turn back to add more layers. Yet, when she returned to the room, she unexpectedly witnessed a scene tinged with sadness. Missy was carefully unfolding a long dress, her mother's favorite garment from when she was alive. It was like a sealed memory. Its delicate texture and gentle hue stirred endless longing in the daughter for her mother, immersing her in deep remembrance.
I just wanted to tell you that I love you. And I miss you.
This sorrowful atmosphere also touched upon Marty's own painful past experiences. She intended to slip away quietly with her sadness, but accidentally made a noise, alerting Missy. Missy then followed Marty, demanding to know why she was invading privacy, although Marty repeatedly explained it wasn't intentional. Missy still scoffed at her apology. Facing this abrupt change, Marty felt a tumult of mixed emotions. Perhaps guilt over failing at her tasks, or deep weariness with her dependent living situation. These complex feelings intertwined, making her want to leave. So she resolutely began packing her belongings, wanting to escape this suffocating environment. However, just as she was busy packing, Clark appeared, his eyes filled with patience and sincerity. He patiently listened to Marty's feelings, offering encouragement and comfort with sincere words, hoping she would understand that the beginning is always the hardest. Clark also clearly stated that Marty was an impeccable choice for the role. Clark's affirmation flowed through Marty like warm water, thawing her heart chilled by the recent events and helping her regain her composure. Ultimately, she decided not to run away, but to firmly stay, bravely face the challenges, and win Missy over with love and care. Marty worked through the night, crafting a beautiful dress to Missy's measurements. It was the first time since growing up that someone had specially made clothes just for her. When Missy put on the beautiful long dress, it was as if magic had happened. She transformed into a princess from a fairy tale.
You look beautiful, Missy.
Later, Clark took them to a gathering at a friend's house, and those around began to notice the change in Missy. Partners who had once been dismissive of her now couldn't help but cast surprised and admiring glances her way. For the first time, Missy experienced how wonderfully special it felt to be liked. After the gathering, they returned home together feeling satisfied. But the wagon suddenly jolted, and Marty hurriedly protected her belly.
What are you expecting?
Hearing this, a flash of surprise and unease crossed Marty's eyes, and she immediately explained to Clark that she hadn't intentionally hidden this matter, promising not to ask for a single extra penny for her journey home. Unexpectedly, Clark wasn't angry. Instead, he felt comforted knowing she carried the flesh and blood of a loved one. This forgiveness and kindness, like warm sunlight, slowly seeped into Marty's heart, healing her deepest wounds. From then on, a turning point arrived in Marty and Missy's relationship, and the barrier between them gradually dissolved. Freed from her inner constraints, Marty began facing life with a new attitude, learning to enjoy the mundane household chores, finding life's joy and rhythm within them. Life quietly fell into place like this. One day, Clark went out alone for his walk as usual. Driven by curiosity, Marty threw on her coat and followed. Finally, on a hilltop, she discovered Clark sitting alone on a bench, singing with deep affection. His singing was rich and emotional, every note filled with endless longing for his beloved. This yearning echoed across the vast, empty wilderness, piercing through the barriers of time and touching a chord in Marty's heart. She hid quietly under a large tree, listening to this melody from the depths of his soul. She could feel the pain and reluctance in the man's song, as well as that unspeakable sorrow. To give Clark enough space to heal this pain, she didn't approach further. Instead, she chose to leave quietly, but in an unguarded moment as she turned, she discovered her husband's lost horse. Memories flooded her heart at this moment, and she slowly moved towards the horse, tightly clutching the reins with trembling hands, unwilling to leave, as if this could prevent that tragedy. However, winter in the western town always arrives silently, yet with overwhelming force. Just a few snowflakes had fallen when, in the blink of an eye, the whole world was covered in white. Clark hurried back home, only to find Marty still out in the wild. Fearing Marty might meet with misfortune outside, he handed Missy a pistol, instructing her to fire it continuously into the sky outside the door if they hadn't returned in 10 minutes. Though Clark's vision was blurred by the swirling snow and his eyes could barely stay open, an indescribable force within him drove him forward through this white void. After relentless effort and persistence, he finally found the barely conscious Marty. Clark held Marty tightly, staggering through the deep snow with heavy steps, struggling towards home. The swirling blizzard formed an invisible wall, obscuring his view, making it hard to recognize the way home. Meanwhile, Missy waited anxiously at home for the long 10 minutes, her eyes never leaving the ticking clock. When the time came, she fired the pistol continuously into the sky, attempting to guide her father home with the sound. But the frenzied snow raged on, and even after the pistol's bullets were spent, she still hadn't seen her father return. In desperation, Missy had a quick wit. She ran inside, grabbed the iron cooking pot, and stood at the door, banging it with all her might. Only when she saw her father's figure returning through the blizzard did she finally set down the pot with relief. Fortunately, Marty had only suffered a mild chill, but Clark and Missy kept vigil by her bedside all night. It wasn't until the warm morning sun slowly rose the next day that Marty gradually regained consciousness.
We should never have gone after that horse.
Man loses a horse, he goes after it. As simple as that.
Clark deeply understood this wasn't just the survival code of Western life, but a symbol of his boundless affection for Marty. In that storm-ravaged wilderness, Clark did not retreat, for he knew the truly important things must never be easily abandoned. This love surpassed simple possession. Instead, when she faced life's hardships and heart's wounds, he stood steadfastly by her side, offering selfless devotion and unwavering companionship without regret. It was Clark's selfless love that helped Marty rediscover hope and confidence in life, allowing her to see a bright future amidst adversity. As Christmas quietly approached, Clark ventured out into the biting frost to hunt. He returned not only with abundant game, but also cut down a tall, straight Christmas tree, adding festive warmth and joy to their little home. Meanwhile, Marty stayed home tenderly caring for her family, lovingly managing their warm nest. Clark poured all his heart and love into crafting a delicate cradle in anticipation of the new life's arrival. The cradle not only held the hope and dreams of the new life, but also embodied Clark's love and responsibility for Marty. As night fell, Missy lay quietly in her father's warm embrace, their figures glowing with warmth under the fireplace light. Nearby, the Christmas tree adorned with candles sparkled with festive joy, adding an air of happiness to their home. In this scene, far from the city's noise and the grind of a 9-to-5, only pastoral peace remained, along with the purest, most sincere love and companionship between family. This seemed to be the pastoral life Marty had always longed for deep down. Yet rural life, though serene and beautiful, came with its own hardships. On this day, Clark came into the house to warm himself as usual, and Marty told him she was experiencing waves of intense pain in her abdomen. Past experience told him this was a sign the new life was about to arrive, but outside, thick snow already covered the ground and there was no time to call for a midwife. With no other choice, Clark suggested he himself assist Marty in childbirth. At first, Marty resisted fiercely, but under Clark's insistence and encouragement, she ultimately chose to trust and accept. Thanks to his valuable past experience helping cows deliver, the process, though challenging, ended successfully. Both mother and child were safe, and the family was filled with joy. The arrival of the new life brought not only more happiness and hope to their little home, but also an unprecedented deepening of their bond. As time passed, their feelings for each other gradually deepened, eventually blossoming into profound love. They found a life of contentment and laughter within this love, reclaiming long-lost joy. Though deep affection resided in both their hearts, neither spoke it aloud. Their love was like a budding flower, knowing it needed sunlight and rain to bloom, yet always lacking the courage to face the storm. They waited for a moment, a chance to bravely voice their hearts. Time flowed on, the ice and snow began to melt, and spring arrived alongside the time for parting. In their final farewell, though countless words filled their hearts, they kept their love tightly locked away. The unspoken feelings made the pain of separation especially piercing. Marty boarded the wagon home carrying this regret, her heart still holding a thread of hope and lingering emotion. Yet the moment Clark stepped into his house, he felt the depth of his emptiness and fear. He prayed devoutly to God, hoping for that pivotal moment to arrive. God seemed to feel his sincerity, for as he bowed his head in prayer, a glimmer of light caught his eye. It was a letter Marty had left behind. The words on the page overflowed with her feelings and the deep, unspoken affection she held. After reading it, unprecedented courage surged within Clark. Without hesitation, he leaped onto his horse and spurred it forward in the direction his love had gone. Wind howled past his ears, dust flew behind him, but Clark's mind held only one thought: to find Marty as quickly as possible, tell her his feelings, and reclaim the love that belonged to them. Love is the healing warmth that can mend heart-wrenching pain. In the name of love, we can pave smooth roads across mountains and seas. Love is not possession, nor is it demand. It is respect for every subtle feeling in each other's soul. In the vast sea of people, fate brings us together like stars meeting the night sky, unwittingly releasing the gentlest light. Two people living simply together, even into middle age, is life's quiet blessing. Why is it only after losing something that we realize how precious it once was? Perhaps this is time's deepest lesson to us. Only loss teaches understanding. Only missing something teaches appreciation. So why not seize the chance and say, "I love you," to him now? I believe he will embrace you resolutely.
I thought you wanted me to go.
I love you.